We have breaking news now on Night Beat. A massive fuel tank inferno in Contra Costa County. What took to finally contain these flames? Updates for commuters and residents left in limbo for hours.
Plus, did you feel it? Yet another earthquake rocked the Bay Area. We will take you to the epicenter. Good evening. I'm Juliette Goodrich in for Veronica.
And I'm Ken Bassito. We want to get right to the latest on that inferno in Contra Costa County.
And right now, the Fire Incident Commanders are holding a press conference. So let's listen in on what they have to say right now.
Colombo, he is the Fire Incident Commander, and he is also the Fire Chief of the Crockett Fire Department. Following him will be Ellen Dempsey, Hazmat Specialist from County Health, who will be addressing the public health issues we've been dealing with this afternoon and evening. Next will be Sergeant Ray Beckler, Contra Costa County Sheriff's Office, to talk about evacuations and what's going on in that arena. Next, Officer Brandon Correa from California Highway Patrol to talk about the highway issues. And lastly, we have Deputy Chief Aaron McAllister from ConFire, who's the operational area commander for Contra Costa County for fire resources. With that, I'll ask Fire Chief Colombo to step up.
My name is Dean Colombo. I'm the Fire Chief for the Crockett Fire Department. At approximately 1:30 this afternoon, a large incident took place at the NuStar oil fuel storage facility, which is located between the towns of Rodeo and Crockett along San Pablo Avenue. Agencies from the western end of Contra Costa County responded to the incident. When the first units arrived at scene, they found two large storage tanks that had received heavy damage due to fire and explosion. The first units at scene immediately put out call for additional resources to respond. A shelter in place was ordered for the communities of Crockett, Rodeo, and Northern Hercules. The difficulties that our first units dealt with was a large or two large storage tanks surrounded by numerous other storage tanks that were threatened. There was a large amount of fire, and due to the amount of fire, it was difficult for units to get close enough. We also had to deal with issues regarding water and also the safety of personnel. Agencies from around the Bay Area responded, including the Crockett Fire Department, Rodeo Hercules Fire Department, Pinole Fire Department, Contra Costa County Fire Department, Alameda County Fire Department, Moraga Orinda, Cal Fire, and 6 fire departments from the neighboring refineries, all coming together to deal with the incident. For law enforcement, there were representatives from Contra Costa County Sheriff's Office and the California Highway Patrol. We also had additional support from the East Bay Regional Parks District and other municipal agencies like Caltrans, or state agencies. This incident has been very dynamic. It has required the forces of over 100 firefighters and numerous other personnel. Difficulties involved the damage, the heavy damage that was done to the facility, and the attempts to get at the fire and to isolate fuel sources. Currently, we are declaring the fire contained. We are continuing to put on water and foam onto the affected area, and will be doing so throughout the night. An incident management team from the Bay Area is on scene and we are all coordinating elements to deal with this incident. The small community of Tormey, which butts up against the facility, was also evacuated. That involves about a dozen homes. Those people are being brought back into their homes. All of the shelter in place warnings have been lifted for both the freeway, Interstate 80, and the communities of Crockett, Rodeo, and the northern part of Hercules. Coming skyway between Interstate 80 and San Pablo Avenue between Rodeo and Crockett remains closed while we still have units at the incident. Units will remain at scene throughout the night and into the morning. We will then reevaluate the situation and determine our next plan of action.
My name is Ellen Dempsey with Contra Costa Health Services Hazardous Materials Programs. So as was just said, an all clear has been issued for Rodeo, Hercules, and as we know it, we will see our air monitoring to continue to go down over time. We have had low monitoring results in the communities impacted. With an all clear, we ask that residents impacted to please open your doors and windows to air out buildings and homes. You can resume normal activities at this time.
Hi, good evening. Ray Beckler from Contra Costa County Sheriff's Office. As Chief Colombo had described, we did do an evacuation of the small community of Tormey, which consisted of about 12 to 15 homes. We did safely escort those people to a safe place, and as we speak now, they are returning back to their homes. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Contra Costa CHP Public Information Officer Brandon Correa with the California Highway Patrol. We just want to thank all of the allied agencies that did such a great job today in the combined effort for the whole entire day for this incident. And as you can hear and see, Highway 80 is now open. Thank you for your patience, and we're very thankful that everybody's safety is intact. Thank you.
And with that, we'll take a few questions.
Lieutenant Correa, can you talk about what it took to get the freeway back open again?
Basically, we're piggybacking on all of the Contra Costa Fire, all the allied agencies here with their expert opinion on when we should be able to do that. Once we came to a conclusion with that, we, along with Caltrans, all of our units in different locations, communicated quickly and said open the freeway and allow people to start passing.
Lieutenant, while you're talking about the traffic situation, I know there were just such major delays. With the fire being not necessarily right on the highway, but near it, what were some of the dangers that were involved on why it was closed down?
I'm going to defer to that, JR, to the chief here. Thank you.
It's a couple. One is the air quality, which was being monitored and was at certain points not considered healthy. The other problem is whenever you have an incident like this so close to the freeway, that is going to be a huge distraction and can result in numerous vehicle accidents. So for these reasons, the freeway, we recommended that the freeways remain closed.
Chief Colombo, have you ever been on the facility with your firefighters training for this kind of event?
Yes, every year we visit the facility, we do a tour. It's a facility that is not only here but also along the shoreline. We also just several months ago finished inspections on the facility because of a new loading dock or addition to their loading dock that they put on. So yes, we are very familiar with this facility and we do train on it.
Any problems during that inspection? Any parts of the tank equipment that didn't come up to par, or everything like it provided everything?
The inspection involved a new facility additions that they had made. It did not involve the tanks. So I can't say that we found anything regarding the tanks on that because the focus was on the new area that they had just put in.
Has your agency inspected?
Our agency has not. So yeah.
have a storage facility with fuel and ethanol, but do they have their own fire department? I know that some refineries do have their own fire departments.
This refinery does not have its own fire department or fire brigade. They have equipment, fixed equipment at scene in case of such an emergency. These are large water appliances and such that in case of such as this can be used in particular to try to protect or to keep fire from spreading. So no, NuStar does not have its own fire brigade or fire equipment.
So you haven't had a chance to talk with any of the employees who were at the scene about what happened in that initial ignition and what might have caused this and where it started?
Yeah, there is an ongoing investigation as to the cause of this. This is being aided by inspectors from Contra Costa County Fire. There are representatives also here from Cal OSHA. We will determine whether or not we need any additional resources or expertise as to find out what actually caused this incident. But right now, it is under investigation.
Can you talk about the ethanol and the air quality? Is it safe?
So at this time, measurements that have been taken by Contra Costa Health Services hazardous materials teams is showing that we have safe levels of air quality. That is why, including with the stability of the situation, that we have decided, along with our health officer, to lift the shelter in place for all affected communities.
When you mentioned measurements, how did you measure the determination before you lifted the shelter in place?
So we use a unit that measures the particulates in the air, which was the main concern for this type of scenario. And we're taking continuous measurements as well as spot measurements at different locations around the community and along the highway.
You mean measurements like on the ground or?
Usually at breathing level. That's typically what we're looking at.
How high can they go and then after?
I would have to check with our equipment. We never reached a point that we were out of range in our equipment though.
And then again, for the chief, or the other fire department, how much was contained in the tanks? I think there was some question about how full they were and the amount of product.
We're still trying to get numbers as to exactly how much was in each tank. To the best of my knowledge, one of the tanks was not full. So I should tell you, 2 tanks were completely destroyed in the process, in the fire. Another 2 tanks were impinged by fire, but they are still right now functional. And the difficulty right now is to cut off the supply of fuel that is burning. We had to isolate a lot of the piping. So as this goes on and engineers and other specialists are brought in, they will look to moving fuel around, opening up valves and such, and to try to mitigate any further hazards and to try to get the situation so fuel is in tanks that are completely fine with. But right now, 2 tanks completely destroyed and 2 tanks that were damaged by fire, but that we have no indication right now of failure. I should also let you know that this fire resulted in a 14-acre vegetation fire that took place behind the refinery here, and that was taken care of by CAL FIRE and units from Contra Costa County Fire. So we had quite a dynamic scene here between the vegetation fire and the industrial fire.
Folks, we'll take 2 more questions and let these people go back to work.
Open, or is it shut down? Or
Right now, all precautions have been taken to isolate the fuel. So the refinery is not operating right now, as you could well imagine. They have to bring in engineers and other specialists to ascertain what is the status of the mechanical apparatus at this refinery. So that has to take place first.
Chief, just when we thought everything was dying down.
All right, you've been watching a live news conference at the scene of the NuStar storage facility, the big tank explosion and fire that rocked the area this afternoon. That is Chief Dean Colombo of the Crockett Fire Department, who talked about the process of what they found when they showed up and what they were up against with 2 tanks fully engulfed and in the process of being destroyed because of the explosion and fire. There were also individuals there from the County Health Department and the Air Resources Board and law enforcement as well.
Yeah, and if you are tuning in and you live in that area, they did say that the shelter in place has been lifted for areas of Crockett, Rodeo, and Hercules. And they said that they are doing air monitoring right now, and they advised you actually to open your doors and windows to kind of let things air out.
They say they don't know the cause of this thing yet. There's an investigation going on, but Interstate 80 has been reopened in both directions, and that facility, according to the fire chief, was inspected just a few months ago. We'll have more on this coming up right after a quick break.